Hey guys, my name is Chantel. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for hanging out with me today. So today we're going to talk about Kono Oto Tomare episode 18 or season 2 episode 5. This episode is... I feel like I say this about each episode, but each episode just gets better and better, and I just fall more in love with Kono Oto Tomare because I don't know what to expect next or what's going to happen next. So it's really been a fun ride, and I really have been enjoying getting to know the characters, especially now with the girls realizing their feelings for the boys and stuff. So lots of good stuff to go around. Anywho, let's just go ahead and talk about this week's episode, which let me just go ahead and start off with our girl Kurusu because she had a really cute moment this episode. It was so stinking adorable. And basically this moment only lasts like a few seconds, but I really enjoyed it, as I said before, and I was just like, it was so cute, so little, but it was everything. And that was when they basically, I guess they switched seats for their classroom, and she basically gets assigned the seat behind Kurata, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting behind him, and like she freaks out, and Kurata feels really bad. He's like, man, I feel really bad because you're always all the time with me at club, and now in the classroom you're gonna be like right next to me. And she's like, no, like I'm so happy, like I'm like beyond happy about this. And he's just like, huh? And she tries to cover it up and like makes up this excuse to why she's happy, and I'm like, girl. And I really like that she said it's a good thing that he's dense because that wouldn't have worked. And I was like, girl, yeah, you're lucky he's really dense, otherwise he would just figure it out right then and there. Anywho, it was just so cute, like the moment that she looks at his back and then she just is like in awe, and she's just like, oh my gosh, like it was so cute. Like it was a really cutesy side to Kurusu, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's like so in love with the boy. Like it's so cute. Sorry you guys, I just had to talk about this little moment because even though it was just a few seconds, it was so adorable, and just, I don't know, like it made me so happy to see that. Like it just made me feel warm and fuzzy, and I was just like, oh my god, you know? Anywho, moving on from that sweet little moment from Kurusu, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the episode. So, the way that this episode actually starts is we finally get to learn the name of the piece, and it's basically called, I honestly don't remember the name of the piece, but it was something of like the Heaven's Cry or something like that, which the teacher like redid the name a little bit because hozuki had like a complete different name, almost similar but not really. It was just like something like the Heaven's Bell or something like that, and the teacher was like, like that's pretty good, but let's change this a little bit to make it this. And he basically told hozuki like why he decided to go with this. And it was something like, to me, like this piece gives off the visual of like a sunny day when it's raining. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool, little scene. And I really like that they give us like this visual of like, it's a sunny day, it's like raining a little bit, but you see hozuki, and it's just like, like that visual alone was like really, really cool to see. But the reason why he came up with this is just because, he said, you know, crying doesn't always have to be associated with sadness. You could cry for multiple different reasons. So that was really interesting that he said that, and I was just like, oh, I like that. Like it's pretty cool. And hozuki like got that because at first she was like, oh, this piece, like it sounds sad, and he's like, no, like think about it this way. So that made her like open up her eyes a little bit more. She like obviously like the name, so she's like, all right, like that's it, that's the name. So yeah, I mean, that's the name of the piece. I really, really like it. I think it fits them, especially, you know, hozuki's reasoning at first of why she picked out the first one. So yeah, I mean, good stuff. Anyway, the rest of the episode, basically we come to another problem where the teacher, Takinami sensei, he's like, well, I can give them as much guidance in the music side as possible, but they're still lacking in like their koto skills, and they need like an actual teacher, and that's not like my area of expertise. And guess who freaking shows up in this episode? the bitter old grandma, and Akita. The minute that they showed up, like, my face just like completely changed in this episode, and I was just like, oh no, here we go. Here comes like the drama. Shit's about to hit the fan. And I was just kind of bracing myself, and this old lady was basically going up to the school, to the teacher, and I think it was like the principal, if I remember correctly. And she was like, oh, we heard Hozuki was here, and she is in your Koto club. We would love to help. And I was like, So with that little conversation that they had, it turns out that Akira will be joining our little Koto group as a Koto teacher. And immediately, I love that all of our Koto people were like, hell no! I'm really glad that the first person that was not okay with it, like Hozuki wasn't okay with it. You could see like in her face, like she was panicking a little bit, and she was just like, oh crap, why are you here? Like, is she here to mess up the club? Like, what is she gonna do? Like, what's her motive? And of course, Hozuki's gonna keep that to herself and she's not gonna say anything. But guess who's there to back her up without saying anything? Like, the first person to say something is Kurusu. She's like, what's the meaning of this, teach? Like, why is she here? Like, do you know the situation? She was basically over here defending Hozuki and looking out for her friend, and she's like, hey, like, I don't like this. How can you be okay with this? Once she started to be vocal about it, everyone else was like vocal as well, that like, yeah, we can't accept this, like, what's going on? And in that instant, that's when Chika and the others come in, the other boys, and Akita does not like these boys. Like, immediately she's like, who are these kids? And I really like that Takinami Sensei was like, oh, they're part of the Koto club, and her response was like, you're joking, right? Like, her reaction to that was like, there's no way these delinquents, these group of children are gonna be in this club. And I really like the teacher's face in this, like his face, his reaction when he says, no, yeah, they are. It almost felt like his face alone said, you know, like, sorry, you're gonna have to deal with it. Like, this is the club. Deal with it. Anywho, that's when Chika notices the girl and he's like, who's this? And they basically catch him up to everything that's happening. And immediately you can see that Chika is not okay with this either. But he doesn't say anything. Like, you can tell how not okay Chika is, and he's worried about Hozuki and what this situation's gonna do to her and what's gonna happen to the club, because Chika loves the club a lot, especially because, you know, back in the first few episodes we found out that his grandpa basically was part of the club long ago, and so obviously he doesn't want anything to happen to it either. But he also doesn't want anyone to mess with his friends either, because Chika is that good of a boy. I love him. Anyways, Akita. So basically, she is pretty much in charge of teaching them the basics of the Koto. That's basically where she starts off. At first, she listens to how they play, and then she's like, this is a lot worse than what I expected. And she basically you can tell like she was belittling them as much as she could, and she was just like, I don't know, like her reaction, I was like, girl, you better not try anything, you better not say anything mean to my kids, because no. Like right now I really don't like Akita and her motives. I really don't know what her motives are. Like later on we find out that her grandma wants to destroy the Koto club and basically have Akita like show them the level of difference where Akita's at and where they're at, and put them in their place basically, and to make sure that Hozuki doesn't come back into, you know, the Koto world. Just because we heard her say, make sure Hozuki understands that she does not belong anywhere and she does not belong with the Koto. And I was just like, this old lady, I'm about to fight her. Like, I don't like this old lady. But I will say though, Akita's reaction to that, it just basically looks like she's just following orders, but at the same time, there's also something more to Akita. Like, we got like little hints here and there, but we don't know the full story with Akita yet, which I'm assuming we're gonna find out as the episodes go on, which is gonna be really interesting because I want to know why she is the way that she is, why she holds like this gigantic resentment. It almost seems like it's towards Hozuki, but I don't know. We don't, like I said, we don't know all the details or the full story of like what happened. All we know is that she, like, from what she said, all she sees is darkness and she can't even see the light anymore. So I'm like, huh, interesting, because she said that she couldn't see the light anymore since that day. So I'm like really intrigued to know more about that and how she got there and why and her reasoning. But for now, we're just left in the dark. And like I said, we'll find out, I guess, as episodes go on. And even at the very end of the episode with Akira, which I'm just gonna talk about Akira now just since we're on the topic of her. The last thing that she says in this episode was that conversation with Hozuki that she has. And I can't remember exactly like how this conversation really started because it's been a few days since I've seen the episode. But what I do remember is by the end of it, Akita was like, I want to know why you value this club so much and why you basically cause trouble for those around you and why you would throw your pride away. She's like, I can see it's super valuable to you and I want to know why. And I'm like, I don't like this. Akita is up to something and I don't know what it is, and it's kind of scary. I really hope that Akita doesn't try anything or try to ruin it. I'm hoping that maybe she'll change, and I don't know. I'm hoping that's because I just don't want anything bad to the Koto Club to happen. I don't want anything bad to happen to them or Hozuki, especially because knowing how far along she's come and the fact that she wants to face this piece that she played a long time ago for her mom. She's found her resolve. She wants to confront everything now and she just wants to like move on and just be happy. And it took her a while to get here to this point, and if Akita does anything to mess that up, I'm gonna shit myself. I swear to God. But I'm not the only one, thankfully, feeling that way, that wants to protect Hozuki at all costs and just doesn't want Akita around. Kurusu, let's talk about her because she was like the real MVP in this episode because she was like defending Hozuki left and right, and like she basically had her back this whole entire episode, and I really loved that and appreciated that. And I love how when they're all grouped together to practice like after school, I like how she's like, I bet she's here to ruin the club. She's up to something just like I was back then. And I was like, Kurusu, oh my God. Like, I really like that a part of her, and like how she was mocking Akira. She's like, I can't stand her with that straight face. She's so arrogant and blah, blah, blah. Like, how can she say that? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, she was just going off. But what I really enjoyed was that moment, that little tiny moment between her and Hozuki, where she tells Hozuki, she's like, hey, don't be quiet about this. If it bugs you and you don't want this, let us know. Like, we're here for you. Like, we got your back. And I really like that. And I was just like, oh, like my girl Kurusu. She's like, the girl, she will beat a bitch up. That's what it looks like. But Hozuki, in the end, she's like, no. She's like, I really appreciate that you guys are looking out for me, but let's use her and get to know as much as we can from her. But if she does anything, she out. I was like, good for you, Hozuki. I do appreciate that Hozuki, you know, came to the conclusion where she was like, I can't be afraid of this girl or her grandma. I need to like move on and push forward for like my own sake. I can't be worrying about them all the time and freaking out. Especially, I feel like what made her come to this conclusion was because everyone else has her back. She knows that if anything happens, they will fight a bitch. Like, she obviously saw that, and I think that's why she's okay now, especially that the teacher even told her, like, Hozuki, don't worry about anything, it's fine. And it looks like the teacher too, because like when they were practicing, Akita didn't like that they weren't going to the basics, because it almost felt like Akita wanted to keep them at the basics as long as possible so they couldn't play the piece that they needed. And I thank God that the teacher was there and he was like, they can learn the basics, but also can we get a move on because we got a competition coming up, so let them learn the piece too. And that's when she's like, okay, fine. Which, like I said, thank God for Takinami Sensei, because if it wasn't for him butting in that instant and telling her, bitch, teach them or else, like, thank God for Takinami Sensei. So I feel like in his own way he is looking out for the club, and he's also like keeping an eye on Akira, because this teacher, nothing goes by him. So I'm pretty sure he also feels that energy from Akita where she wants to do something to the club, but he's not gonna let that happen. So he's just like, they need a teacher, so let's do this, let's use her, and if she tries anything, I'll handle it. Like, that's just the vibe that I'm getting from the teacher, and I'm really glad that he's not gonna let anything happen to the club either. Which also, another thing I do want to talk about regarding this little practice session towards the end was when Akira, she was desperately trying to tell him, you can't be throwing away the basics, you guys are like blah blah blah, like she was like basically trying to put them down. And I really like that what shut her up was when Chika played the basics and he was super good at it, like he had already mastered it. I can't remember exactly like what he said, but he was just kind of like this bitch. It was so hilarious, and then that instant I was like, yes Chika, you tell that bitch. And because she like shut up instantly, and that's what also made her be like, okay fine, whatever, let's move on and practice a little bit of the piece. And speaking of Chika, it looks like he's trying really hard not to like lash out. You can tell that having Akira around really does bug him, especially knowing that she's part of the hozuki school, and how, you know, hozuki's history and stuff like that. He doesn't want anything to happen to the club either. And I really like that Kurusu was like, hey, like, why are you okay with this? Why do you seem so okay? Like, usually you're like the first one to lash out when something is up, and if someone is trying to mess things up, you're the first one to say something. Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you defending Hozuki? And in that instant, he's like, well, I can't argue because we do suck and we also need to learn. And also, I'm not too sure if he said this, but also in his own way, it almost felt like he doesn't want this bitch to talk bad about Hozuki, because you can tell that the minute that Akira said, you know, oh, Hozuki's teaching must have been really sloppy for you guys to be this bad. Like, he doesn't want anyone to talk bad about Hozuki or his club, or, well, I say his club, it's like their club. He doesn't want anyone to talk bad about them or down, or basically look down on them. He's like, the reason why she's doing that is because, you know, we suck, and this is basically as far as we went with Hozuki, and I don't want anyone to talk bad about her. So I was like, my boy, like, he in his own way, he's trying to be calm and he's trying to learn as best as he can, and so she can shut the hell up, but also like he doesn't want anyone to look down on Hozuki or the club, and just wants to prove them wrong basically. At the end of the day, that's what it is. So I really appreciated that about Chika, because also, like me, I was with Kurusu, was like, why aren't you saying anything, Chika? You're always the first one to go after whoever is talking shit. So I was like, Chika! But anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this week's episode. Lots of stuff to talk about. I feel like this is gonna be one long video again, and I'm really sorry about that, but I really wanted to talk about like this whole thing and my thoughts and stuff like that. And yeah, anyways, I am done rambling on for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me ramble on, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!